Alright, welcome to episode 25 of the Pro-Go Baduk Weiqi Podcast. Again, you have Xiao Dai and
Gaza.
Gaza. Alright, this time you've done the sound effect yourself. That's an innovation. So let's get into it. Gaza, the big one this week, the 5th Wu Qingyuan Cup.
Wu Qingyuan Cup, yeah, this is the biggest women's tournament, the biggest women's tournament, individual tournament.
Well, biggest in terms of prize money and probably in terms of prestige as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, really the only thing that compares in the women's Baduk is the Hobart Cup, but that's a team event.
That's a team event, yeah.
Yeah, the Wu Qingyuan Cup it's you could almost consider it like a world championship, women's world championship, really.
Yeah, basically. Now they did bring this competition forward, just because one of the participants was is pregnant. I think originally they wanted to hold this competition or the semi-final onwards from November, something like that, or October. Sometime I can't remember exactly what date, but something like that. But that would be cutting it too close to Wang Chenxing's what do you call that? The planned dates for giving birth. So they decided to bring it forward. Now, apparently, the Chinese Weiqi Association contacted the Korean Baduk Association and say, can you bring it forward? And they agreed. And also it was lucky because there was no Japanese player in the semi-final. If there was, apparently to get the Nihon Keen and the Kansai Keen to do anything, you need to let them know 6 months beforehand. So that's the story. And so it was brought forward as a little bit of a surprise, but the semi-final were two cracking games. Guys, do you want to tell us anything about the semi-final?
So the semi-final had Korea's top 3 women.
Yep.
And Wang Chenxing from China. So
yeah,
the Korean participants were obviously Choi, Jeong.
Yep.
For over 100 months, top women's player in Korea.
Yep.
Reigning Wu Qingyuan Cup champion. She won it last year.
Yep.
And she was playing against compatriot Yujin.
Yujin, which is pictured here. Yep.
Yes. I believe she's the women's Kuksu champion.
Right.
Current Korean women's Kuksu champion.
Yeah.
And number 3 woman in Korea. I'm not sure if she's in the top 100
overall
in Korea. She may have just dropped out of the top 100.
Right. That's Kim Cheayoung over here.
But they were playing each other, and then the other matchup was Kim Cheayoung, number 2 women's player in Korea, and the inaugural Wu Qingyuan Cup champion,
Wang Chenxing of China.
Against Wang Chenxing of China.
Yeah. Which is the lady picture here. You can see she's a little bit pregnant. Probably like 5 or 6 months or some kind of thing, or maybe 7 months. The Wu Qingyuan competition, if you remember, was very exciting. It was where the two Taiwanese players, He Jiajia and Lu Yuhua, made quite far. They almost made the semis, but it was Wang Chenxing being the sole Chinese representative, and the top 2 Chinese women's player were eliminated. So that would be your Yujin and your Zhou Hongyu. They were eliminated. So Wang Chenxing was the only Chinese player left. And what happened in the semi-final, Gaza?
Well, I would say that both games of the semi-final were upsets.
Yeah.
Well, right. In my opinion, because you have Choi Jeong, the reigning champion, undoubtedly the strongest, best women's player of the semi-finalists, and she lost to Yujin.
Yeah.
So Choi Jeong won't be repeating her Wu Qingyuan Cup.
No.
Yujin has had some successes over Choi Jeong in domestic finals last year. They've played each other many times. Choi Jeong has won plenty of those occasions, but Yujin won the Kuksu. And so definitely capable of beating Choi Jeong, and this is another victory for Yujin, but it was definitely an upset.
Yeah, it's been an upset, but I think upsetting Choi Jeong is becoming a little bit of a trend because she does have maybe have I wouldn't say problems, but because she's actually still so strong, but she definitely has slipped up quite a bit more often than what we expect of her in the last year. So
yes, it seems like she's becoming not quite as invincible.
Yeah.
But she's still far and away the best women's player in the world, and certainly in Korea.
Yeah.
But not on this occasion.
Yeah.
And it was a good win by Yujin, but one of my Korean friend, he told me that now that Choi Jeong is considered the great Korean hope in women's sort of pro Baduk. So now that a countrywoman beat her, like it's like now the countrywoman's responsibility to carry on what Choi Jeong was expected to do.
Right.
So now Yujin has sort of got that responsibility to win the title.
Yeah.
Not really sure if I've explained that well, but it's if you could imagine if Shin Jinseo, was in the Samsung Cup and he lost along the way to a fellow Korean.
Yeah.
It would be like we all were banking on Shin Jinseo to win the title. So now that you've beaten him, you'd better do it.
Yeah. Obviously, this has happened a few times in the men's clubs as well. Yeah. Yep.
So so that's so Yujin's in the final. I don't know if she's made the final before of the Wu Qingyuan Cup. I'm just going to quickly check.
Yeah, while you quickly check that, so what you're looking at on the screen right now is the game between Choi Jeong and Yujin. Now, there wasn't too much I can say about this game. It's the game, I guess, was close-ish, but according to AI, Choi Jeong was basically behind for the whole game. It's just a game where Choi Jeong just wasn't having her day, and Choi Jeong was black in this game. Yujin was white. It basically just not enough points from beginning to end. So it wasn't a great performance by Choi Jeong.
Yeah, and I just want to say this is actually the first time Yujin had even made the semi-final of the Wu Qingyuan Cup. So,
but Yujin has won an international women's competition title before.
Oh yes, she has won the Cheayoung Cup.
Right.
The Cheayoung Cup. Now that competition seems to have been discontinued.
Right.
But in 2016, she won it against Wang Chenxing.
Yeah. So if Wang Chenxing makes the final, it will be a rematch.
It will be a rematch, yes. Right. And she did make the final. She beat Kim Cheayoung.
Yep.
And I thought this was a bit of a surprise as well because Kim Cheayoung is, I think she's at a career high rating in Korea.
Yeah.
She's quite clear number 2 now in the Korean women's rankings, and she's in the top 70 in the overall Korean rankings.
Right.
She had that great performance in the GG Auction Cup, winning I think 5 games maybe or 4 games I think actually. But most of those were against the best veteran Korean players, including Lee Chang-ho.
Yeah.
And she's performed really well in all of the women's competitions, and clearly is in great form. But Wang Chenxing, all credit to her, she outplayed Kim Cheayoung. So,
I if I remember correctly, it was fairly close, but until Kim Cheayoung's black group got in a little bit of trouble because she was, this whole black group was deep inside White's territory, and White was able to gain quite a bit by attacking it, and basically ended up not being enough for black. And I think this black group looks like it's in trouble as well. I can't remember the fate of this, but might have just died. The whole group died. And Wang Chenxing, despite being pregnant about 7 months, kind of is still managed to make the final of an international competition.
Yes, and this is her second Wu Qingyuan Cup final.
Yep.
In the second Wu Qingyuan Cup in 2019, she made the final against Choi.
Yep.
She lost to Choi.
Yep.
But like Yujin, she has also won the Cheayoung Cup.
Right.
She actually won it in 2013. So she won it in 2013. Yujin won it in 2016.
Yeah.
And so they're both now playing against each other to try to win their second international major.
Yeah.
International women's major.
Now, and the final was a best of 3, and so let's go into game 1. While we look at the game, some of the picks from game 1. So this is now, by the way, this Wu Qingyuan Cup was held supposedly in one of the, shall we call it, the hometown of Goseigan or Wu Qingyuan, which is kind of near in Fuzhou. And you can see near Weiqi there attending the final ceremony, opening ceremony kind of thing. And apparently the location is quite beautiful. We got one of our friends to send through some of the pics of when he visited Fuzhou, and in particular the Wu Qingyuan, some kind of museum dedicated to Wu Qingyuan over there. It's a very beautiful location. But what happened in game 1, Gaza? Do you remember much from this game?
Game 1 was on Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's the day that I go to work.
Yeah.
So I'm not really able to watch the game too closely.
Yeah.
I just want to preface this by saying, although it's obvious to people watching the video that these games were played remotely.
Yeah.
So Yujin is not in China.
No.
She's in Korea and they're playing on computers.
Yeah.
But oops. But this game was a fairly short game, I believe.
Yeah.
In terms of the number of moves.
Yeah.
I think I'm really not sure.
Yeah. Well,
I really don't have much to say on it, to be honest.
I just remember watching the commentary, and in this game basically Yujin is black, Wang Chenxing was white. I just remember watching the commentary, and they said it was neck and neck for almost 100 moves, for maybe 100 moves, and then when Wang Chenxing decided to invade over here, apparently she's had a misread of some kind, and then her whole psyche was just got destroyed, and she would just start making mistakes. But they were neck and neck for 100 moves, and it was a few hours into it. And basically, I think she had a misread over in this corner, and she lost this whole thing. And so white, the attachment for white just didn't gain very much. So and then Wang Chenxing maybe just lost her composure a little bit, or maybe she was just too tired, or whatever it may be, and she ended up making some more mistakes over in this area, and you see what actually happened, and so this group was about to die, and then
did that group die?
Yeah, no, this group maybe could stay alive, but you see what happens. That ended up, I think, this group ended up dying. So it was neck and neck for 100 moves, and then 20 moves later, Wang Chenxing had just lost, and basically don't know exactly what happened, but maybe she was just feeling tired. That's some of the people's conjectures, but that was game 1. It ended up pretty quickly, even though they were just 50-50 really for much of the game. So that was game 1. So now it's on to game 2, and it's do or die for Yujin, for Wang Chenxing, and
so Yujin won the first game. Yes.
Yeah, Yujin won the first game, and now to the second game. Let's
I watched this one.
Yeah,
and this one was I think it was you said that the first game was close for a long time, and then it sort of suddenly, suddenly there was one mistake, and Yujin ran away with it quite quickly. I think that this was a similar scenario here.
Yeah.
In this case, Yujin is white.
Yep.
And I remember following. I was following this game, and it was quite close. I couldn't determine who was ahead at all for the first 100 moves.
Yeah.
And Yujin got into Byoyomi quite early. Well, compared to Wang Chenxing.
Yeah.
And so I did think that Yujin would be the first to sort of... It seemed to be a case of, someone had to make a mistake. And then the other player would pounce because, neither of them seemed to be giving an inch to each other. And I expected Yujin would be the first one to make a mistake because she got into Byoyomi a lot earlier than Wang Chenxing. But her play in Byoyomi was quite impressive.
Yeah. So it looks like what ended up happening was that this whole black group of Wang Chenxing in the middle was basically captured by this point. Or if not captured, that this white group that black spent so many moves trying to threaten connects back. Or actually, this black group also was probably going to die.
I think that black group that you're highlighting there, that was the first one that sort of went under attack.
Yeah.
About move 110 or so.
Yeah. That was not good.
Yeah, as you can see, it's.
Oh yeah. I thought it was going to connect back, but then I think something must have gone wrong here because her two groups got separated, and so I think it was gone somewhere around this point.
Do we know? Are any of those groups actually dead, or is it just that white has too many points?
It looks like to me that I think
that the black group at the top. I think those black stones at the top. That collection of stones are. Are in trouble.
Yeah, it feels like to me that at least one of these will die. So it's not going to happen. It's not going to work out for black.
Is this the point that this is the point that she resigned?
Yeah, this is the point she resigned.
That top group I'm pretty sure is dead. Because white's clamp is basically preventing black from connecting it to the top right.
Yeah. So one of them will die, and black can't kill this white group, I guess. So so that was the end of the second game. So basically, Yujin defeated Wang Chenxing 2-0 and have won the title. And she looks really happy over here, collecting about 500,000 RMB.
That's more than a domestic major in Korea, by the way.
Yeah. So very, very good result.
That's about 100,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
The biggest tournaments in Korea, 70,000. So.
Yeah. Now you may, I think I have spotted Liu Xing from here, but Liu Xing is Wang Chenxing's husband, and Liu Xing, of course, was one of China's top, very top players. And now, Yujin, in the post-game interview, she said that she would give herself 100 out of 100 for her performances in this competition. So, what
a time to optimize your performance.
Yeah, and she's done really, really well, eliminating Choi Jeong, no less. And so, congrats to Yujin for winning.
I'm just wondering, since Wang Chenxing's pregnant, is this the first time when two people from the same country have made the final and they both lost?
Right, maybe, because I don't see. I think there was an article of someone writing about the performance of pregnant ladies. Apparently, some of them were pretty impressive.
Example, in Korea at least, Kim Hyo-min won the Daeju Cup.
Yeah.
Pregnant. Kim Yoon-young in last year's GG Auction Cup was the first player, and I think she won the first 4 games.
Right. And if I'm not wrong, Lee Min-jin, while she was pregnant, she actually made the Samsung Cup. But I think she decided to forfeit her game because she couldn't make it. It was just cutting it too close.
I think Oh Jong-ah
Yeah.
last year made the final of the IBK Cup while she was pregnant.
Yeah. So, but it wasn't to be for Wang Chenxing, so tough luck. But that's a good wrap for this year's Wu Qingyuan Cup. I enjoyed the competition, but shall we move on to Japan and take a look at the Kisei League or the Kisei competition rather?
Oh yes, the Kisei. This one I've been really keen to do because the Kisei leagues. Well, they haven't all finished, but the challenger bracket has been determined now.
Yeah, that's right.
We've never really gone into detail over how the Kisei works, and we're not going to do that in this podcast either.
No.
But essentially, there are 5 leagues.
Yeah.
From highest to lowest, there's the S League, the A League. Oh no, there's 4 leagues. Sorry, the S League, the A League, the B League, and the C League.
Right. Well,
basically, if you win in a lower league, if you do well enough in a lower league, you can get promoted.
Yep.
And if you do poorly in a higher league, you get demoted.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Even if you're in a lower league, you still have the opportunity to challenge for the Kisei title.
Yes.
Now, the way it works is that the B League winner and the C League winner will play each other.
Yep.
Whoever is victorious there will play the A League winner.
Yep.
Whoever is victorious there will play second place in the S League.
Yep.
And then whoever is victorious in that will play first place in the S League.
Yep.
And they have to beat first place in the S League twice.
Yep.
Otherwise, the S League champion will be the challenger.
Yeah. Now, in Google Translate translates the final match in the Challenger Determination Tournament, the irregular third match. I think it just means best of 3, but S League first place is assumed to have 1 win, even before playing. So
yes, they start with a 1-0 advantage. Yes,
in the best of 3 basically. So they only have to win 1 more game.
Yes.
To progress.
So the league that everyone sort of that I found the most fascinating to watch was obviously the S League. That's the top league.
Yeah.
Now the S League features Iyama Yuta for the first time in 10 years because the previous 9 years he was actually the Kisei title holder.
Correct. Yeah.
But he lost it in January to Ichiriki Ryu.
Yeah.
So he's now back in the S League.
Yeah.
And he wants to obviously try and challenge to retake the Kisei.
Yeah.
And since there's only 6 players in the S League, so if you remember, you only need to finish in the top 2 to have a chance.
Yeah.
And the other advantage is that there's no sort of tie break. Well, there are tie breaks.
Yeah.
But all of them favor Iyama. So the way tie breaks work in the S League is if 2 people are tied for the same number of wins, then whoever finished highest in last year's S League wins the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And in Iyama's case, since last year, he was the Kisei title holder.
Yeah.
He has a better tiebreaker than everyone else.
Yeah.
So basically, to finish top 2, he only needs to have one person. If only one person has more wins than him, he'll finish second.
Yep. And
so Yeah, so it's not that it wasn't going to be that difficult for him to finish top two, but as it turned out, he failed to do so.
Yes, indeed he actually finished fourth, and he's had 3 losses, and basically if you remember when the league when S League started, game 1 was Yama Yuta versus Shinji Takao, so people were really expecting Yama Yuta to win that one, but Yama lost the very first game to Shinji, to Takao. So Takao actually managed to finish second in the S League, with a 3-2 record, and Yama Yuta then have subsequently lost to Shibano.
So sorry if we just go over Yama's game. So the first game against Shinji Takao, that was actually the first game of the entire S League.
Yep.
And then he beat Yuzhenshi.
Yep.
And then he lost to Shibano.
Yep.
Shibano Torimaru, who is currently challenging him for the Meijin title.
Yep.
And it ended up being, not that big a surprise because Shibano beat everyone.
Yeah.
But that put Yama on 2 losses, and so if he lost any more games, he needed to win his last 2 games.
Yeah.
To finish second.
Yeah.
And against Murakawa Daisuke,
yeah,
he actually almost lost that game.
Right.
It was. I wouldn't say he almost lost, but it was a very crazy game. It was an absolutely insane game that featured huge sacrifice, a huge trade-off.
Yeah.
From both sides. We never actually featured that game on this podcast, but I don't think we can do it justice. I highly recommend people look at that game in their own time.
Yeah.
Possibly with an AI, possibly without. I can't make heads or tails of it in any case, but he did prevail in that game.
Yeah.
And so that kept his chances alive. He only needed to beat Su Shawan in the final round, and he would finish second.
Yeah.
But I did have a feeling that Su Shawan would be a tough matchup for him because Su Shawan doesn't seem to be intimidated by Yama.
Yeah.
At the very least, I mean, he did beat Yama in the Kiriyama Cup last year.
Yeah.
And although he doesn't seem to be as consistent as, say, Ichiriki or Shibano, on his day, he can beat anyone. And in this case, he did beat Yama.
Yeah.
And so for Yama fans, obviously they'd be disappointed that Yama had 3 losses and failed to finish top 2. But for me, I was pleased because I'm a big Su Shawan fan. And if Su Shawan lost, there was a huge risk of him being demoted because he actually, since he was in the A League last year, he had one of the lowest tie breaks. He had a worse tie break than, everyone else in the S League.
Yep.
So basically, if he was tied on wins with anyone, he'd be ranked lower.
Yep.
And so if he had only 2 wins, there was a huge chance that he would get demoted.
Yeah.
But yeah, since he won, that meant he was guaranteed to stay in S League. But for Yama, his opportunity to retake the Kisei will have to wait another year.
Yep. At least, because now Yama actually finished with a 2-3 record, having lost to Takao, Shibano, and Shu. And Shu Chaoyuan finished with a 3-2 record, and Shu Chaoyuan actually finished ahead of Yama in 3rd place.
Yes, and that's important because, as you said, Yama actually finished 4th place in the S League, so that means next year, in next year's S League, he'll actually have a worse tiebreak than Su Shawan and Takao Shinji and Shibano. Yeah. Or if either of them actually win the Kisei, then Ichiriki will be in the S League, and Ichiriki will have a better tiebreak than Yama.
Yeah, yeah.
So it will be next year. It will be more difficult for Yama. Perhaps a 3-2 record may not be good enough. Although in this case, Takao Shinji was did have the fourth best tiebreak, and he finished 3-2 and came second. So
Yeah.
it's possible, but yeah, it's not going to be as easy for Ayana next year.
Yeah. So let's go through the final placings of the S League. It turns out that Shibano with 5-0 record came first. The next one is a surprise for me. It's Takao Shinji with a 3-2 record.
Yeah, he was by far the oldest player in the S League. He's really the only player from his generation still in the S League this year. Although a player from his generation will be two players from his generation will be rejoining the S League next year.
Yeah, and that would be Konorin and Yamashita Kaigo.
Yes. We're obviously big fans of both of those players, especially Konorin.
Not me, but
Takao Shinji. I think many of us expected that he would finish in the bottom two in this year's S League, but no, he actually finished second.
Yeah.
So good on him, and he's got a chance of challenging for the Kisei.
Yeah, so Takao Shinji now has a shot at challenging for the Kisei, although you probably think that it'll be a little bit tough versus Shibano at the top of the ladder. And we also have the after Takao Shinji, it would be third is Cheayoung.
Yep.
Fourth,
very
Yamagita.
Solid performance. This is his first time in the S League, and so he stays there. And really looking forward to seeing him back in the S League next year.
Yeah. So and then we got the relegation places. At fifth is Yo Jengchi, and at sixth is Daisuke Murakawa Daisuke. So
yes, they're both Kansai Kian. So they were the two Kansai Kian reps in the S League. So next year there will be no Kansai Kian reps in S League.
And as we mentioned in the A League, Konorin and Yamashita Kaigo finished top two. Yamashita actually finished number one, so Yamashita Kaigo has a chance to challenge for the Kisei. He's now in the Challenger Determination Tournament. And this is what the step ladder looks like. Now, basically, what's happening is that in the C League, Otakeyu, we've met him before, in that he beat Fujisawa Arena for was it the Meijin or Honinbo League? One of the two.
It was the Honinbo, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, okay, it was the Honinbo League. Okay, so Takeyu, public enemy number one, actually wins C League, so he'll be promoted to B League next year. Now, in B League, there was two leagues. The league winner of each of the league will played in a playoff, and Suzuki Shinji actually won that one, so he will be in the step ladder to challenge for the Kisei. And of course, you've got Yamashita Kaigo winning the A League, Takao Shinji at second place, and Shibano Toramaru with 5-0 record going to challenge for the Kisei, challenge Ichiriki Ryo for the Kisei. So something to look forward to there.
Yeah, just to give an idea, I believe this version of the Kisei qualifiers has been around for maybe 8 or 9 years.
Right.
In every previous case, the winner of the S League ended up being the challenger.
Right.
So to give an indication, Takao Shinji he'll have to win 3 games to challenge for the Kisei. He'll need to beat whoever challenges him from the previous games, and he'll need to win that, and then he'll need to beat Shibano twice.
Yeah, tough ask.
Yes, and all of the other players, Yamashita, Suzuki, or Takeyu, they'll have to win more. They'll have to do even more.
Yeah.
So, Shibano definitely has a big advantage, but then again, he did win all of his games in the S League, so he kind of deserves it.
Yeah.
So just another brief update. So in the C League, Fujisawa Arena, she was the only woman in the C League this year. So in the C League, if you play 5 games, if you win 3, you stay in the C League. If you win 4, you get promoted to B League, and if you win 5, not only do you get promoted to B League, but you participate in the Challengers tournament. That's what Atake Yu did. Rina is currently on 2-2.
Right.
Fujisawa Rina, she's currently on 2 wins, 2 losses. So she hasn't played her 5th game yet.
Right.
I believe that will be against Koki Kono or something like that.
Right.
And Aidan.
Yeah.
I don't know when that will be, but if she wins, she will stay in C League, and it'll be her 3rd straight Kisei C League. If she loses, she will have to requalify.
Yeah. All right. Yep, it's a tough one.
Another small update. The Malaysian pro, Tomoyasu.
Yeah.
He was in C League. Unfortunately, he lost his first 3 games, and so he will have to requalify next year.
Yeah. So making the C League is already quite an achievement. Maybe put you in the top maybe 60 or so players in Japan. So yeah. Now, the only last thing I wanted to mention about this is, of course, the current Kisei is Ichiri Kiryu. He won the Kisei 4-3 from Yamauta, but since then he's lost 7 games straight in title matches, all against Yama. So I do wonder if Ichiriki will continue his poor form in title matches, and will we see a new Kisei in Shibano? So that's something I will have to see.
Or will we see an old Kisei in Yamashita? I believe Yamashita has been the Kisei before.
I'm pretty sure he has. Yeah.
A bit embarrassing for me to not know, but see, Yamashita was Kisei. He was first Kisei back in 2003.
Yeah.
Takao Shinji, by the way, has never been Kisei.
Right. Okay. But I mean, no one really is thinking Yamashita Kaigo will become Kisei again. But hey, let's see.
It would be pretty incredible for him to be Kisei 20 years apart. Yeah. That's never happened before.
Right. Yeah. That probably never happened before. Choi won the Meijin.
Yeah.
Quite a few years apart, I guess, but nowhere near like 10.
I mean, Cho Chi-hoon was Kisei in 1983 and 1999.
Right.
That's 16 years, but that's impressive. But if Yamashita ended up winning the Kisei, that would be nuts.
Yeah. Now, okay, so from one title match with the league to another one, but this one is a straight league. Shall we, Gaza, move to Korea and talk about the Dr.G, Korea's women's strongest league?
Yes, so I've been wanting to talk about that. So this is a women's tournament, a domestic tournament in Korea, and it features a league.
Yep.
So it's like, I guess it's like, the Meijin League in Japan, 8 players, round robin. So each player plays 7 games. Mm-hmm. Now this is actually the second time they've held this.
Right.
But it's this is the second edition of this Korean Women's Strongest Tournament. The first one, though, had a different sponsor. I believe it was called the Hoban Cup.
Right.
Last year. Different to the International Hoban Cup, which is a team tournament.
Yeah.
This time it's sponsored by a company called Dr.G or something like that.
Yeah.
But so less confusing now that it's got a different name to the now that there's not 2 tournaments called the Hoban Cup. So this one's called the Dr.G, but it is it is the second edition of this tournament. And I just want to preview the 8 players.
Yep.
So it features 8 of Korea's strongest players. Now, 3 of them, the top 3 from last year's tournament all got seeded into this year's tournament. And then there were 4 qualifiers, and then there was a wild card.
Yeah.
So the 3 players that were seeded into this one, they ended up being the 3 players that we already discussed that were in the semi-final of the Wu Qingyuan Cup.
Yep.
So first we have Choi Jeong.
Yep.
Now, she actually won the this tournament last year.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found interesting is that there's an open version of the Korea's Strongest, and that's the one that Shin Jinseo holds. Yeah. We discussed his final with Shin Min-jun in an earlier podcast. But in that version of the tournament, it's a title holder challenger system.
Yep.
So the league is just to determine the challenger.
Mm.
In this tournament, Choi Jeong, even though she's the current champion, she participates in the league.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not a title holder challenger format.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's intentional or if it was because with a change of sponsor, they decided to sort of not have it as title holder challenger. I'm not sure, but
yeah.
In any case, it's not title holder challenger. So Choi Jeong has to participate in the league.
Yep.
Just like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, she's the favorite.
Yeah.
She's still the best. She's still the best women's player in Korea.
Yeah.
And she's very, very likely to finish top 2 in this league.
Right. Yep. Okay. So that's Choi Jeong.
Yeah. So next is Kim Cheayoung. Mm-hmm. So like I said, she's number 2 women's player in Korea, and she's in the top 70 in Korea. She's been very consistent this year. Won a lot of games. Obviously made the final of the semi-final. Sorry, of the Wu Qingyuan Cup. I think she finished 3rd last year. So she's looking to do one better, at least in the league, because 2nd place will get you into the final.
Right.
But yeah, she's obviously a big favorite to finish in the top 2. Definitely going to be a contender.
Yeah.
Okay. Next we have the star of the week, Yujin.
Yep.
So number 3 in Korea, but she is the reigning Wu Qingyuan Cup champion. So she's in huge form.
Mm.
She made the final. So she did make the final of this tournament last year, but she lost to Choi Jeong 3-1 in the final.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, based on her current form, yes, she could beat anyone.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so definitely going to feature.
Yep.
Yep. Now this is Kim Yoon-ji.
Yeah.
I believe she's probably the youngest player.
Mm.
Oh no, she's definitely the youngest player in this league. And she was actually the wild card. She didn't qualify. She lost in qualifiers.
Right.
But she was selected as the wild card, and probably was the right pick. She is 4th women's player in Korea at the moment.
Right.
So yeah, not sure. I'm not sure how what her chances are. Like, she's probably got the 4th best chances, but it's very hard to see anyone finishing above, Choi Jeong, Kim Cheayoung, and Yujin, especially considering their form.
Yep.
But if anyone can, Kim Yoon-ji is the most likely to.
Yeah. So it's Kim Yoon-ji, big project.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, Kim Yoon-ji, I believe she's still only 15 years old.
Right.
She might be 16. Let me just quickly check.
I mean, it's one of the two.
Yeah. And actually, sorry. The interesting thing is, by the way, is that I just realized, I just checked the rankings, and Yujin is actually 4th in Korean rankings. Kim Yoon-ji is actually a little bit ahead of her.
Right.
I just noticed this. Kim Yoon-ji is ranked number 90 in Korea. Yujin is ranked 98.
Oh wow. Okay.
And yeah, that was a change in the latest rankings. That only happened in the latest rankings, that Kim Yoon-ji moved ahead of Yujin. But still, I think the rankings are definitely going to get an update next week, and Yujin should move back ahead of Kim Yoon-ji. And again, I just don't see Kim Yoon-ji. I definitely would favour Yujin over Kim Yoon-ji at the moment, but yeah, Kim Yoon-ji, definitely has one of the best chances outside the top three.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And yeah, she is only 15, by the way, still only 15.
Yeah. So yeah, best young prodigy.
Yeah. All right, Park Ji-yeon.
Yeah.
So she's the oldest player in this league. She's a bit of a veteran. She's possibly, outside of Choi Jeong, the only player in this league that could claim to have been the number one Korean women's player at some point.
Right.
She was quite possibly the strongest women's player before the emergence of Choi Jeong.
Right.
So she won a couple of women's Kuksu titles in like 2012, 2015. And yeah, she's a regular in the women's Baduk league. Very capable player. Very deserving of participation in this league. She's one of my favorite players.
Right.
I don't think she'll finish top three, but she, everyone. She has a chance. She has a chance. Let's see.
Now let's just.
She's probably I would say she's probably the strongest out of the qualifiers.
Right. And now 3 rounds have been played in this competition, and Park actually beat Kim Cheayoung in the game 2. So she's actually done quite well.
Yes. I haven't. Yeah, I didn't mention this yet, but this tournament has actually already started. But I did want to go over the players. Yeah. And but like you said, she's already beaten Kim Cheayoung, so it's definitely a good start for her.
Yep.
Okay, so this is Hyo So-hyun.
Yep.
Now she actually plays in the same team as Park Ji-yeon in the Women's Baduk League.
Yep.
Now her team didn't do very well. They didn't make the playoffs. And I would have to say that's partly. I'd have to say that Hyo So-hyun's form is a little bit inconsistent. She has flirted with the top 10 in Korean women's rankings before. I don't think she's in the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm just quickly checking. She's 16th at the moment in the women's rankings. Whereas, for instance, Park Ji-yeon is 10th.
Right.
Okay. She's a little bit inconsistent, but she did make her first international tournament this year in the Wuyqi Cup. That's the team event.
Yep.
And she's still very young. She's about 20 or 21.
Yep.
But yeah, this will be a good opportunity for her being in a league playing the top players. But I don't really see her finishing in the top 3.
No.
But we shall see. She could prove me wrong.
Yep. And then we have.
Okay, so this is Kim Kyung-yoon.
Right.
Now, so she's actually 14th. She's 14th in the women's rankings. She used to be in the top 10 for a little bit, but so one thing I will say is she's actually in Choi Jeong's team, in the women's Baduk League, and as we mentioned last week, despite Choi Jeong having her usual extremely good season, her team didn't make the playoffs.
No.
And I don't, I think you can connect the dots.
Yeah.
And sort of get an idea as to how well Kim Kyung-yoon did in the league last season.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do think she's a bit inconsistent. She obviously did well to qualify for this, but I think that she will struggle in this league. And if I expect her to finish in the bottom 3.
Right. Yeah.
She's still young though. She's young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have.
Okay, and then we have. So this is sort of the rank outsider. This is sort of the surprise qualifier. Last year we had a surprise qualifier in Yujin, who's since gone on to win the IBK Cup.
Yeah.
This year we have an even bigger surprise qualifier, Ko Miso. Now, when we first started these podcasts, Ko Miso wasn't even a pro.
No.
So she's turned pro in like the last maybe 4 months ago or something like that. She's still a 1 down. She's ranked 36.
Yep.
In the Korean women's rankings.
Yeah.
So, qualifying for this tournament is already her biggest achievement in her professional career.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's probably going to struggle, and she may finish last.
Mm-hmm.
But for her, at least, being in this league and having experience against top players is already, a big positive, like a big positive for her.
Yep.
I'm not trying to disparage her or anything. I do hope. I think it would be great if she wins some games and does well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very unlikely that she's going to finish, in the top half. But in any case, I think this experience will be invaluable to her, and I wish her luck.
Yeah. And let's see if she does another Jeong Yujin. But
Jeong Yujin and wins the IBK Cup next year.
Yeah. Now, I would say that Jeong Yujin is not the only surprise exclusion from the league, because we have Cho Seong-ah failing to make the league.
Well, I wouldn't say Jeong Yujin is a surprise exclusion. Although she is, a current major title holder, she's actually, she's actually not even in the top 20 in the Korean women's rankings.
Right.
And I've said this time and time again. She can obviously beat the top players, like she beat Choi Jeong on the way to the IBK Cup title, but she can lose. She's very capable of losing to anyone.
Yeah.
She's wildly inconsistent, and I think it's due to her play style.
Yeah.
Which can see huge successes and huge failures. But I'm not too surprised that she didn't make the league.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, Cho Seong-ah is most certainly a big surprise missing from the league.
Yeah. Okay. I just quickly go through the first 3 games. Now Choi Jeong was unsurprisingly victorious against Hyo Seo-hyun in the first game. That was played on the 23rd of September. And as we mentioned, Park Jae-young actually beat Kim Cheayoung. And I believe today, Ko Miso lost to Kim Kyun-yun. So maybe Kim isn't doing so bad after all in this league, but it is against Ko, which is, as you mentioned, a little bit of a surprise packet. So let's see. Still,
it's a good start. Well, it's good start for Kim Kyung-yun to get that win.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, for Ko Miso, I mean, this is mainly about getting experience for her.
Yeah.
If she proves me wrong and actually makes the final, then, I'll be the first to admit that I completely underestimated her.
Yeah.
But solid start for Choi Jeong and Kim Kyung-yun. And a bit of an upset, Kim Cheayoung.
Yep.
Losing to the veteran Park Jae-young.
Yep.
I don't know. By the way, I don't know how the tie breaks work. Essentially, the top 2 will make the final, which I think is best of 5.
Yep.
But I don't recall. I believe if there's a tie, then whoever won the matchup among the tied players, finishes ahead in the tiebreak.
It seems to be that a head-to-head is a very common tiebreaker in these Korean comps.
Yes, sorry, head-to-head, yes.
Yeah, we've seen it before.
Yes.
Okay, so thanks, Gaza, for the Dr.G I'm really looking forward to this league.
Yeah, so it seems like they play 2 or 3 games every week.
Right.
With 8 players, I think there's going to be 28 games.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while to finish this.
Yep.
So we probably won't do an update every week.
Yeah.
Only in the slow weeks.
Yeah.
Or when it gets really close to the end.
Yeah.
We might give some updates.
Yeah. But otherwise, unless it's like the Kisei, where I was really disappointed where one of the Shibano's Kifus didn't get recorded. So after that, I didn't update the Kisei League. But if Dr.G, if every game's Kifu get released, then you can be sure that you can see the results on Pro Weiqi as they come up.
I think to be clear, not only will the Kifus get released, the games are all live streamed.
Correct. Yeah.
On the Baduk TV YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So if you want to actually watch the games live, you can do that. They typically start, I believe they start at 2:00 Sydney time. And I think that is 1:00 Korean time.
Right.
It's 1:00 Korean time. The games start at 1:00 Korean time, and they're usually it seems like they're planning on doing them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So
yeah,
look up your if you're really keen, look up your time zone, and you can watch them on the Baduk TV YouTube channel. But in any case, there will be Kifus, so that they will be updated on the Pro Weiqi subreddit.
Yeah. Or if you want to get live updates, you might want to join the Discord. And a lot of the time, the live stream games, the URL to them will get posted in the Discord. And the Discord you can join from the Pro Weiqi subreddit just by clicking this link. But anyway, so that's the Dr.G. Shall we move on to another doctor of the Go, the Dr. Yoda Norimoto. By the way, he's not actually a doctor. I just want to use the doctor to mean that he's kind of an expert or something. But anyway, what's happening in the Samsung Cup, Gaza? We want to give an update on this.
Okay, so I've got an update of the Samsung Cup. So basically, when we last talked about the Samsung Cup, I believe we had the Korean selections.
Yeah.
And we have we done the Chinese?
I really can't remember, but I think it might be worthwhile just going through who actually made it.
Yes. Yes. So in the Korean selection, we won't go into detail of these because we have done it in a previous podcast.
Correct. Yeah.
But so there are a lot of Koreans. We've got Shin Jinseo, Park Junhwan, Byun Sang-yeol, Shin Min-jun, Kim Ji-sok, and Kang Dong-yoon were all seeded.
Yep.
They didn't have to qualify. The players that did qualify: Kim Young-hoon, Won Song-jin, Choi Jeong, Han Woo-jin, Lee Chang-ho, Kwon Hyo-jin, Yoo Oh-seong, Lee Hyung-jin, and Gyom Ji-woo. Yep. Choi Jeong qualified as the women's rep, and Lee Chang-ho qualified as the senior rep.
Yep.
Do you have an update for the Chinese qualifiers?
Now, it was the Chinese one is a bit all over the place. But I do believe what's happened was that Gu Zihao made it, Li Xuanhao also made it, and I really have to try and remember who else actually made it.
Okay, so I don't know the female qualifier. Well, actually, the female qualifier.
The female qualifier, I believe, is Yujin. They played in a league, and she head-to-head record was just ahead of Rui Nai, the legend. So Yujin will be China's rep, women's rep.
Okay, it looks like the Pro Weiqi subreddit may not have documented the Chinese qualifiers too accurately, but the Go To Everyone website has.
Right.
So I'm going to steal from them.
Yep.
Now, the seeded Chinese players were Ko Jie, Tang Wei Jing, Yang Dingjing, and Zhou Chenyu.
Yeah.
And the qualifiers were Gu Zihao, Li Junhao, Mi Yuting, Tan Zhao, Fan Ting Yu, and Dang Yifei.
Right.
And the female qualifier was Yujin.
Yeah. So there we go.
Now,
yep.
The Taiwanese qualifier, did that happen?
Yes. I think it was the final was between Xu Haohong and Wang Yuanjun, as you would expect. And Xu Haohong got the better of it, and he actually made it.
So this is a reversal of the LG Cup qualifier.
Yeah. Now, actually, Xu Haohong had a little bit of a tough time getting through the qualifiers. I believe he's only won in the qualifiers. He's won two of his first two games by half a point. I believe it was against Lin Junyan and I believe Jiating. I think one of the
Zhu Qingyuan. He's a very young player. Zhu Qingyuan.
Yeah. So I just vaguely remember something about that. But he managed to beat Wang Yuanjun in the final. Now, by the way, this is the authoritative, Taiwanese pro news website, or one of them. It's called the taiwango.org.tw, right? So it does the official reporting on the Taiwanese pro scene, along with haifeng.org. But
haifeng.org, I believe, is the official website.
No, it's a bit complicated in Taiwan, but this is another one that's the documents all of them official. Now, notice it's hosted on Blogspot, so it's not I wouldn't call it very professionally done, but it's got the knockout charts here, and I believe what's happened is it says Xu Haohong here made it. Wang Yuanjun, he beat Wang Yuanjun, and Xu Haohong had to beat Xu Jing'en, I believe by half a point, and then Lin Junyan by half a point. So Xu Haohong just made it. But still, it's good to see Xu Haohong again on the world stage, and this is Xu Haohong and Wang Yuanjun in their first game and last game. But anyway, I believe in Taiwan Taiwan has 9 major competitions. Six of them, I believe, are actually held or organized by the Haifeng Qiyuan in one way or form. So the majority of them comes from Haifeng, but not everything. And I do believe this is the official website for the Taiwan Qiyuan, which I think runs quite a bit of the pro scene as well. And most of the official reporting just comes here in terms of the results. So yeah. Anyway, so Xu Haohong is the Samsung Cup rep for Taiwan.
And that only leaves 5 spots left for the Samsung Cup.
Yep.
4 of them
are
Japanese selections.
Correct.
And let's go through them now. So we've been hinting in previous podcasts that Yama, is the strongest player in Japan, or at the very least he's, he can easily throw his hat in the ring as the strongest player in Japan.
Yeah, arguably, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there was a very strong chance he wasn't going to be played in the Samsung Cup.
Yeah.
Because of the Beijing tournament.
Yeah.
And we can confirm that he will not be playing in the Samsung Cup this year.
Yeah.
Nor will Shibano Torimaru, his opponent in the Meijin title match.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So the 2 seeds... So Japan had 2 seeds.
Yep.
Japan had 4 spots. 2 of them were seeds, so basically 2 players get selected automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's 1 open qualifier. Well, for Japan, I mean, open is, has a different meaning than, say, in Korea.
Yeah.
And there's a senior qualifier.
Yeah.
So the open qualifier is basically it's basically a contest between national team players.
Right.
But let's first start with the seeds. Now, the 2 seeds that were selected were Ichiriki Ryu and Su Shawan.
Yeah.
Now, if you consider the fact that Yama and Shibano were basically ineligible to be selected because of their commitments to the Meijin,
mm-hmm.
these two seed selections are not surprising at all.
Yeah, no.
I would say that these are quite possibly the two strongest players in Japan outside of Iyama and Shibano.
Yep.
Ichiriki was a no-brainer. He's a title holder.
Yeah, Kisei.
The Kisei.
Yeah.
I think he's the last Japanese player to make a semi-final in a world major, having done so in the In Cup.
Yep, losing to Shaker 2-0.
Yep, and Su Xiaowan, well, he's my favorite player, so that automatically makes him the best player in Japan.
Right.
But look, he's a mainstay in the he's going to be a mainstay in the Japanese Nongshim Cup team. He's only getting better. If he gets more consistent, he'll be a force to be reckoned with in international scene. I'm very, very happy to see him get selected, get another opportunity to play international.
Yep.
Now the Open qualifiers, it was a interesting structure. It wasn't a typical structure, but it was mainly youth oriented.
Right.
This qualifier. So
I think youth in the Japanese scene has a slight, very different meaning and connotation to youth in China and Korea. But go on.
Well, essentially, there were seven players that were participating for the Open qualifier spot.
Yep.
Now, it was going to be a knock. It was a knockout, and it was a 4-player knockout. So 3 of the players in the knockout were Sara Atsushi.
Yep.
Seki Kataro.
Yep.
And Hiroshi Yuichi.
Yep.
I hope I've got those names in the correct order. Right. And the 4th player is the winner from the other 4 from a young qualifier.
Yep.
And so that's where the other 4 players are. The other 4 players are young players.
Yeah.
So we've got. I just want to make sure that I get the names in the right order here. So we've got Miura Taro.
Yep.
Okay. We've got Sakai Yuki.
Yep.
We've got Fukuoka Kataro.
Yep.
And we have. Who have we got here?
It looks like it's Tanaka Yasuyuki.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something like that. Tanaka Yasuyuki.
Yeah. He's from Kansai King.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, those 4 players, they have to win twice to make the 4-player knockout. So these young players, they have to win twice, and then they have to win twice in the main knockout. Mm-hmm. While the other 3 players, Sada Atsushi, Seki Kataro, Hirose Yuichi, they just need to win twice.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And the winner of the young qualifier, I believe, was Sakai Yuki.
Right. Yeah.
So I was hoping it would be Fukuoka Kataro. Mm-hmm. But no, he lost. He didn't do so well.
Yep.
So Sakai Yuki, he made the main qualifier, but he lost to Hirose Yuichi.
Yep.
While Sada Atsushi beat Seki Kataro.
Yep.
I think you've seen this game.
Right.
The Seki Kataro game.
Yeah.
Seki Kataro made a very poor move.
Yeah.
You don't have the Kifu?
I may not have the Kifu, but so basically, in that game, it was basically, I guess the important thing was Seki Kotaro. Remember, he's actually the title holder. He holds the Tengen, and
yes.
But yet he's never made a major league, and in this game he was leading. And AI had him at about 96%, right? And what did he do? he made a really poor move. And and the interesting thing is, we kind of talked to our friend and just asked him. He's our friend. He's very strong amateur player, maybe about six or seven dan on Fox. So I asked him his opinion on where would you play if it was your game. And he basically gave the AI answer, while Seki Kotaro just played the worst move possible. So this is the game. Seki Kotaro is white. Sada Atsushi is black, and I think according to the AI, white is quite ahead in this game. So
yes,
I think the win rate is 90%. So I think black.
Yeah, it was something like 98%.
Something like that.
High.
So Sada Atsushi decided to have a crack, like a last-ditch effort at trying to do something. He just played here. Now, just remember, white is actually quite ahead in territory, so white doesn't have to do very much. So he played here. So he asked our friend, if you were white, where would you play? And he said, well, I'm just gonna jump here to make it secure. There's no need to do anything fancy. And that would have been the AI answer as well. But for whatever reason, Seki Kotaro, being a title holder, decides to block over here. And then I think at this point, maybe he can still jump back. But he decides to fight the Ko. Whatever the reason was. No idea. Maybe Bayomi, or he thought he could win the Ko. But he ended up... Let's just look at the results. So they fight the Ko for a little bit. And then... Yep. And then lost the Ko. And then this whole white group got killed. Just like that.
Yeah, that's a huge...
That's just crazy. So basically his win rate ran from 98% to like 2% in the space of a couple of moves. So the moment he decided to fight his Ko, it was gone. I find it hard to believe that like a title holder wouldn't be able to see this Ko. I mean, I'm pretty sure he saw it.
In Byoyomi, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked that he
missed it.
He played. No, I'm not shocked that he missed that he would lose the Ko. Ko's are hard, right?
Yeah.
Like it's very hard to see. It can be very hard to gauge who's ahead on Ko threats.
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked that he wasn't able to see who won the Ko. I'm shocked that he decided to make a Ko in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm no pro, and I'm not claiming that I would have been able to assess that I'd be ahead of this situation.
Yeah.
I certainly am more than capable of losing this position as white.
Yeah.
Where he was at 98%.
Yeah.
But I would have thought that a professional of his ability would have been able to see that he could play extremely safe just play at the 3-2 point, didn't need to block, didn't need to make a Ko.
Yeah.
And he would have left black with, black would have gotten a couple of points, but it wouldn't have been enough. And now black has even less to work with.
Yeah.
In terms of coming back.
But it was
it was obviously a misjudgment. He may have been in Byoyomi, but that's what was shocking to me. Pros are capable of losing Kos all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, to decide to fight a Ko when you're ahead, it's a bit disappointing for Seki Kotaro.
Yeah.
But well done to Sada Atsushi for. So this was just the semi-final.
Yep.
So well done to Sada Atsushi. He had to play Hirose Yuichi.
Yep.
In the final, and Sada Atsushi prevailed in that one as well.
Yep.
So that means that Sada Atsushi qualifies for the Samsung Cup.
Yeah. And there may have been some misreporting on Pro Weiqi that Sada Atsushi had made it after beating Seki Kotaro, but I think he needed to beat Hiroshi Yuichi before he actually made the Samsung Cup.
Yes, that's true. Yes, the final game was against Hirose Yuichi.
Yeah, which Sada Atsushi also won. Now, Sada Atsushi, you may remember him having played in was it the Qingyuan Cup where he beat Mi Yuting in the first round.
Yes.
So, yeah, and I believe Sada Isuzu has made a major league before in Japan, so it's a very strong player.
He's made the Honinbo twice.
Right, yeah. So
he qualified both times. Yeah.
So very, very strong player. So Sada Isuzu made it.
And he's also from the Kansai King.
Yes, Kansai King, yeah. Now, of course.
So that's 3 of the Japanese players. Now the fourth Japanese player is the fourth Japanese qualifier is from exclusively a senior qualification.
Yeah.
Now, we have some big names here. Okay, so we've got Mamura Tomoyasu.
Right.
We've got Maki Kogota.
Yep.
Then we've got Yuki Satoshi.
Yep.
That's a big one. 1,300 wins.
Yep. Former title holder.
Yes. And then we've got the big dog, one. Yoda Norimoto.
Yoda Norimoto, the big one.
And, I mean, we've talked about him before in not so positive...
Wow.
In not so positive way. Yeah. But in terms of his go, he's he's a legend.
Legend.
Interestingly enough, the senior qualifier for the last Samsung Cup, Yamashiro Hiroshi, wasn't in the qualifiers this time around.
Right.
I was a bit surprised with that, but maybe they just wanted to give an opportunity to someone else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But guess who qualified? It was who qualified?
It was Yoda Norimoto.
Unbelievable, Yoda Norimoto. Now Yoda Norimoto, you may be thinking like, Japan haven't had a world champion.
Yeah, for quite a while.
For what, 15 years or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
And so typically the players that you see representing Japan are not former world champions.
No.
And most certainly have never won the Samsung Cup before.
No.
Well, in this case, Japan does have a representative who has won the Samsung Cup before.
Yeah.
Yoda Norimoto won the Samsung Cup in 1996.
The very first edition.
We've got the inaugural winner. He won it before Lee Chang-ho.
Yeah. Now, Yoda Norimoto is known as a little bit of a Lee Chang-ho killer. I mean, so apparently Lee Chang-ho has a losing record against Yoda Norimoto. I'm not sure if that's true anymore, but definitely there is a reputation that for Yoda being a little bit of a Lee Chang-ho killer. Now, I do want to just quickly mention Yoda Norimoto's achievement in the international scene. Now, not only has he won the Samsung Cup, he's also basically responsible for Japan's only victory in the Nongshim Cup. And he did that by defeating, I believe, Lee Chang-ho in the final game.
That is correct.
Yes, that's correct. So he's quite a player. Obviously, he's won the Kisei. He's a major title holder in Japan. So he's definitely a legend. And it's just great to see a legend returning to the Samsung Cup. In the winner of the first edition returns in the 27th edition. Great story.
And what's crazy is that the winner of the second, third, and fourth edition is also in the Samsung Cup.
And that would be
Lee Chang-ho.
Lee Chang-ho. Nice.
That's crazy. When you think about the players that have won it since then.
Yeah.
Like Cho Hun-hyun is virtually retired. I mean, he hardly plays at all.
Yeah.
Lee Se-dol is actually retired.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
Like Lo Ji-hei, he's like a coach in the JA League.
Yeah.
Kong Ji.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't seem to be around anymore.
No, he's only recently played in an exhibition match. That's about it. Yeah.
Like Gu Li is virtually retired.
Yeah.
And like these players, and yet Yoda and Lee Chang-ho, the OGs of the Samsung Cup, they're still around.
Yeah.
Not only they're still around, but they're still qualifying for it. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Like, yeah, when I think of great players, like you think about players that dominated, but you also got to take into account longevity, in my opinion, because I mean it's if you have a really strong peak, it could just mean that you have a weak level of opposition, like your contemporaries, perhaps are not as strong as in other generations, but well, okay, let's not.
Yeah.
Let's not go too far into that for now. But when you consider players like Lee Chang-ho, Yoda Norimoto, Cho Chi-hoon, and stuff like that, you're talking about players that won against multiple generations.
Yeah,
legends. Like Wang Song-jin as well. I mean, he's proven he's one of the best in the world over like 20 years now. So
is he back in the top 10 in Korea?
He is back in the top 10 in Korea.
Crazy. Yeah.
But, he's made in international, not world majors, but in international competitions, he's made, the semi-final across a 20-year span.
Wang Song-jin has won the Samsung Cup, though.
And Wang Song-jin has actually won the Samsung Cup, yes.
Yep.
He's not... Did he qualify? Oh, yeah, and he's qualified for this one.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
So, he's actually apart from Yoda, Norimoto, and Lee Chang-ho, he's actually the oldest Samsung Cup winner. That's qualified for this one.
Yeah.
Other previous Samsung Cup winners that are in this one: Tang Wei-jing, Kim Ji-sok, Ko Jae, Gu Zihao, and of course Park Jun-hwan, the current winner.
Yep. So it's a little bit of a surprise to me that Jinseo still hasn't won a Samsung Cup, and we still don't know who the wild card for the Samsung Cup is.
No, we don't know the wild card, and it's I have to say it's a little bit difficult to have a guess.
Mm-hmm.
The highest ranked player that in Korea that has not been selected, I believe. Well, I mean, it's Lee Dong-hoon, but he's not going to get selected because he's retired.
Yeah,
but it's actually Park Gyun-ho.
Oh, okay.
He's ranked 7th. Closely followed by Park Ha-min.
Right.
And then you've got Lee Chang-seok in 12th.
Yeah.
It could be any one of those.
Yeah.
It's very hard to say because they're not really household names.
No.
I'd say it's probably going to be Park Gyun-ho, but they could just go ahead and pick like Park Young-hoon or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like Choi Cho-han. Who knows?
Yeah, could be anyone. But anyway, so that's the Samsung Cup, which I think it's due to start sometime in the October.
Yeah, it's in the middle of October, so hopefully they pick the wild card soon. Because, you want them to have a bit of time to prepare.
Yeah, so just maybe just under 1 month's time it will start. Looking forward to that. And as a special preview, we will have our unnamed, a strong amateur friend come on at least one episode that mentions the Samsung Cup. So let's look forward to that. He's still unnamed though, so let's give him a name by then. So Gaza, that's the Samsung Cup. Now Gaza, we still have a little bit of time left. Shall we quickly cover what's happened in the J League?
Yes.
So I believe we have covered up to round 11 last time. So let's just quickly go through them. Now in round 12, Shin Jinseo didn't feature, and Ko-jae and Park Jun-hwan's team didn't play. So therefore, it wasn't that interesting of a round. But
can I just ask?
Yeah.
But one interesting thing for me is Shin Jinseo, this is his 4th round that he's not playing. My guess is that his team Hangzhou
Yeah.
must have been playing against a weaker team, and so surely Hangzhou, you know, they didn't play Shin so surely they won their
Well,
match.
well, that's the thing. They actually play with Xinjiang, which is not what you consider a very strong team. But Xinjiang does have strong players in their mix, which is Kang Dongyun, Chen Yaoye, and they managed to beat Hangzhou 3-1. So Xin Jinseo Hangzhou actually lost this round. They collected 0 points.
So it just boggles the mind that they have Shin So
Yeah.
and they don't play him.
Yeah.
Like I can understand not playing him when they're playing against a weak team.
Yeah.
But this team has Chen Yaoye and Kang Dongyun. It's entirely possible for Chen Yaoye and Kang Dongyun to both win.
Yeah.
And then for their sort of reserve player, for Hangzhou's reserve player Li Haotong,
Yeah.
to get beaten. And that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. The only person who have won this is Shaker, who didn't play in the main player spot. They put Lin Xiao versus Chen Yaoye in the main player spot. And I do believe it's because Lin Xiao does have a winning record against Chen Yaoye. But in this game, Lin Xiao got beaten pretty comprehensively.
I just find it incredible that they have Shin Jinseo, who is the best player in the world.
Yeah.
And they don't play him.
Yeah.
And they lost.
Yeah, they lost.
It's like what are you doing? It doesn't make it's just
well,
just can't fathom it really.
Yeah, but after the loss, they're still first in the standing. So maybe they just want to take their chances. I think they just aim to finish in the top two. They don't necessarily want to finish in number one, or they don't need to, because the top two probably has a similar kind of privileges in the postseason. But anyway, just some speculation, no idea. But of course, that's why the Korean media did mention that maybe Shin Jinseo should put it in their contract that he plays more games. But it's a bit of a strange thing. But in this round, the big one is Wang Xinghao beat Shin Minjun 1-0, and that's probably the biggest one. Wang Xinghao is doing quite well in the Jar League.
Solid,
very solid player. Now to round 13. Now round 13 was very interesting because now Ke features again, and Shin Jinseo features again. Now in this round, Shin Jinseo, in this game of Shin Jinseo versus Jiayang, Shin Jinseo almost lost. Like it was.
Oh, I think I'm gonna need to see a key for this.
Yeah, let's see if you can if I can pull up the Kifu and Gaza, while you may want to just quickly go through what's happened. So okay, let's see if I can just quickly find the Kifu. This is actually amazing. Like I've got the Kifu open. It's actually really quite amazing, this game. So let's look at Shin Jinseo is white. Jiayang is black. Now Jiayang is known as a very, very slow player. So he plays all his moves very slowly and very deliberately. So there was some kind of fighting that will happen very soon. And yeah, so this is Jiayang doing his thing. And very quickly, you see some groups in trouble. Let's see where that is. Remember, Shin Jinseo as white is just running this weak group over here. And what's happened to this white group? It's now basically completely surrounded. This white group over here, completely surrounded. So I do remember watching the live stream, and Shin Jinseo at this point was, having a very painful look on his face. Let's put it this way. But I think very soon, Shu is gonna get into Bayomi. He might already be in Bayomi. But anyway, like you look at this white group here. It's basically almost like, there's no eyes. You'd expect that potentially this white group could get killed. But anyway, Shin Jinseo plays some more moves in the middle. Cuts off black to kind of threaten black somewhat. But okay, and I think I watched the commentary. I watched basically says that this black move here could be just a bit too slow. I guess you can see black's idea. So like this black group is kind of cut off. So black just wants to capture these 2 stones, and now this black group is completely safe. Both sides, but apparently white's seal here is actually not perfect. You can see here it's actually quite a few cutting points. So actually black could come out over here or capture this one. It's Miai. So black actually doesn't have to make a move, but Jiayang just does the play it super safe and goes, okay, I've kind of eliminated all my problems, and he thought that this black group here is alive. But let's see what magic Shin Jinseo does. Okay, so when black played here, obviously Shin Jinseo was not going to let Jiayang play here again to complete the seal, and so Shin Jinseo played the move that complicates things, which is the correct way to approach this, I guess. And I think Jiayang had read quite a few variations in here and decided, hey, there's nothing white can do. So when white cuts, he just captured these 4 stones. And hey, yep, white's not going to be able to capture these 3 stones. And I think he had a misread because Shin Jinseo played here. With this move, this is probably the Tetsuji that Jiayang had missed. But when Shin Jinseo played here, basically these 3 stones are gone. This move makes it so that it can connect back either side or do something. But anyway, so it was a very good game for Jiayang for quite a while. But when he lost these 2 stones, you see how this white group just miraculously kind of stayed alive just by capturing
this
stones.
This is just
just
typical Shin Jinseo.
Yeah, it's just crazy
game.
stuff.
He's done this so many times. Yeah, it's just crazy.
I mean, he just notices these Tetsujis. It feels like he notices these Tetsujis better than other players. I mean, there was no post-game interview that I'm aware of for Jiayang. So I don't know if he's just had a misread or whatever it is, but the speculation for the commentator was that he just had a misread. He just didn't see this move. He thought this was already quite okay, but it wasn't to be. It just Shin Jinseo has done his thing. So at this point, Jiayang's resigned. But yeah, you saw that Jiayang had Shin Jinseo by the ropes.
Oh,
it was like it was just.
It looked very dire for white.
Yeah, and also it was very dire for white by AI assessment as well.
I strongly suspect that you already assumed Shin Jinseo was going to lose at some point in the in the game.
Yeah, because I mean the whole white group had 0 eyes, but somehow Shin Jinseo managed to complicate things.
Magic. It's magic. It's Jinseo magic.
Jinseo magic. So that was definitely the game of the round where Shin Jinseo just had beaten Jiayang from an impossible situation. Now the other good thing that happened was Li Xuanhao was able to beat Shin Minjun. Li Xuanhao, of course, in very hot form recently.
Hot form.
Just the hottest form you can possibly imagine.
And we also had that it's not for some reason it's not listed in the results, but Choi played Wang Chenxing.
Yeah.
There was I was really looking forward to that game, and Wang Chenxing ended up winning this one.
Yeah, so now you may remember Choi hasn't won on the main player spot that often. I mean, this is round 13 already. He's played on the main player spot 8 times, and he's only won 2 out of 8. So this is a pretty terrible record for Choi, and it wasn't getting any. It didn't get any better versus Wang Chenxing over here. I do believe this game was they were back and forth, but Wang Chenxing managed to capture the last chance that he had and just beat Choi that way. But it was really neck and neck for quite a bit, and both sides had made some mistakes. But Wang Xinghao won out in the end. So not a good year for Ke, but I mean it's also not a great year for Wang Xinghao because he failed to make a lot of competitions. But I mean he's doing quite well in the Jia League. So in this game was the main player game as well. So Wang Xinghao with Shanghai had won the main player spot. But I do want to mention this again. And Shanghai isn't really what do you call it? They're a little bit of a shall we call them the two-horse team, because I do believe in this round Shanghai had done one of those things where it was they had won against Wang Xinghao had won, Li Weiqi had won, but the other two players have lost. So they managed to only collect 2 points. And without Wang Xinghao or Li Weiqi, God knows where Shanghai would be. They probably.
Well, they wouldn't even be in the Jia League.
Yeah, no, they. I mean, they're struggling. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that Shenzhen, after spending big bucks, after they have spent some big bucks to bring in Ke and Park Junhwan, is barely managing to get into the top 8, if at all. So like they're at risk of getting in the bottom 8, which means that they will have to play in the playoffs, but they will be in the bottom half of the playoff, which means that they're not going to be able to win the championship. They're basically fighting to stay in the Jia League. So that's quite a big thing for Shenzhen.
We do need to add the caveat though that not all teams have played the same number of rounds.
Right, correct. And not all teams have played the same number of rounds because due to COVID, some teams just haven't played in the previous rounds. They are trying to play catch-up rounds as they go. But, but even then, I think if you take into account that not all teams have played in every round and had the full set of games, matches being played yet, then Shenzhen's situation is even more dire because I think there were quite a few teams that are ranked just a little bit below them that haven't played the full season. So it's actually really
I do believe Shenzhen are short at least one round though.
I think they might be short one or something. Can't remember. They might have played the catch-up one by now. I can't remember. But I don't think they are short by that much. I think there are definitely teams below them that are short by more.
We shall see. We're getting close to the end of the Jia League regular season.
I think from round 14 onwards, for 14-15 will be played centrally in Chengdu together with the postseason. So we'll see. I think it should definitely happen in this year, depending on how the COVID situation goes in Chengdu. But it's scheduled to play somewhere in November, December, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Probably December. So let's quickly go through the list of top 10 underperformers. I think it hasn't really changed that much. The 3 Korean imports, Lee Ji-hoon, Kim Ji-sok, Kim Min-hyun, all featured because they have a pretty terrible record.
How's Wang Ziyu going?
Wang Ziyu, this guy? Yeah. I mean, he wasn't expected to win a lot of games, to be honest. But still, he's still going with a duck egg at the moment, 0 out of 11. So not that great. Now, also, Jinseo and Xinghao also makes the list because I think the rating system is tougher on them. They're expected to win more games, but Jinseo has a 6-9 record. Xinghao has a 7-13, so not up to their standard. But
I'm very disappointed to see Zhu Haohong without yet with a win.
Yeah, I mean he's expected to win half his games, but he's not.
And, I don't think any. Well, there are only 2 Japanese players in this Jia League.
Yeah.
Ichiriki has yet to play a game.
Yeah.
And Iyama has played twice and lost both of them.
Yeah.
So.
Which is a complete reversal of fortunes from his performance last year, where he had 2 out of 2. But let's see. Hopefully, we'll see Japanese and more Japanese players play in this league. In terms of overperformers, we've got Chen Shin. 10 out of 13, not bad. Li Qingcheng, 10 out of 13, not bad. Ye Chengxin, we have talked about him. He's a young player from in the Shanghai team. He seems to be the only good, promising youngster in the one of the Shanghai youth lineups. So yeah, he's got 6 out of 11, which is not pretty impressive for a young player. Nothing too much to talk about, but let's look at the absolute top of the table. Xinghao absolutely killing it at 11 out of 12, a 92% win rate. Byung Sang-yu and Dang Yifei not doing so bad at 80% win rate themselves. So Li Chunhao is of course already ranked second in the Chinese ranking, and if Ke continue to lose a few more games, and if Li Chunhao just wins a few more games, we could see a new Chinese number 1 in Li Chunhao. So I personally am looking forward to that, but let's see what happens. So that's the Jia League wrap, and I think we'll see as the catch up games. Some catch up games are being played, and we'll see the round 14 and 15 and the postseason happening in Chengdu later on in the year. And now at least one catch up game has been played. So this is Wang Xinghao versus Dang Yifei over here. I can't remember. There's Tu Xiaoyu versus Li Weiqi. I can't remember what had happened in this one, but I think in this particular catch up game we have. We have Wang Xinghao beating Dang Yifei, and we have Li Weiqi beating Tu Xiaoyu, and Liao Yunhe won the other one, and Fan Tingyu won the other one. So it's a similar story for Shanghai.
Yeah, but Shanghai won because Li Weiqi was the main player.
Right, yeah. So Wang Xinghao and Li Weiqi won their games, but the other two players lost their games. So,
those other two players have had. I think those other two players are Huang Mingyu and Wang Chuxuan.
Right.
And they're just doing bad.
Yeah. Wang Chuxuan is maybe forgivable because he's like a one dan. He's just made pro or something. But Shanghai would probably be even in a tougher position if not for Wang and Li. But hey, you get what you get. So that's the Jia League round wrapped up. So Gaza, our last and remaining task is to go to the calendar, unless you want to cover anything else.
I just want to cover a couple of one thing.
Yeah.
So we've mentioned before the Ha Chanseok gifted tournament.
Right.
And how there was a 10th anniversary tournament featuring all of the past winners.
Right.
Well, the final of that happened a couple of weeks ago. So I just want to quickly mention the result.
Yep.
So that the final was between Kim Byung-seo, who actually won the latest tournament, and Park Hyun-soo, who won the 7th edition, so 3 years ago.
Right.
No, sorry. He won the 6th edition, 4 years ago.
Right.
So it was between the winner of the 10th edition and the winner of the 6th edition. And Kim Byung-seo won.
Right.
He beat Park Hyun-soo. So Kim Byung-seo, he not only won the regular Ha Chanseok tournament, but he also won the special 10th anniversary. Yep. Now, typically, so this is now his third career title.
Yeah.
Now, typically, you gain in Korea if you win a title in a restricted tournament, you gain a rank.
Right.
But because this is a very special tournament, he didn't gain any ranks.
Right.
But he did gain a rank for winning the regular edition of the Ha Chanseok tournament.
Right.
But yeah, he didn't gain another one for winning this one.
Yep.
But in any case, he still won. So this is actually his third career title.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad considering he's been a pro for about 16 months.
Right, yeah. Not bad at all.
Yeah, not bad. Would be cool to see him in a Globus Cup.
Right, yeah.
He's although he's only been a pro for 16 months, he is 18. So he sort of joined a little bit later than, your typical prodigy, but he's clearly in pretty good form. Yeah, and the one thing we didn't discuss this week was the Rookie King tournament. Right. There was a Korean one and a Japanese one.
Yeah.
We might we might try and cover that next week.
Yeah.
Although, as we can see from the calendar, next week is a pretty exciting week.
Yeah, big one.
Yeah, so we start off tomorrow, or, if you're watching this, it may have already happened.
Yeah.
The Kiriyama Cup final in Japan.
Yeah.
We've got Hirose Yuichi, who we mentioned in the Samsung Cup qualifiers.
Yep.
He's playing the one and only Iyama Yuta.
Yes.
So Iyama Yuta is obviously a big favourite to win that one.
Yep.
But we shall see.
We shall see.
On Monday, we have the first game.
Don't forget the Dr.G, 2 games in the Dr.G league.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so over the weekend, we've got 2 more games in the Dr.G.
Yep.
Female player, Yujin versus Kim Yoon-ji, and Hyo Huin versus Komiso.
Yep.
On Monday, we have the first game of the Tengen final.
Yep.
That's between Seki Kataro, the current Tengen title holder, and Ida Atsushi, who is a former Judan title holder. So both of these players are looking to win their second Japanese major title.
Yeah.
And if Seki Kataro, Ida Atsushi has since been promoted to 9 dan. If Seki Kataro defends his title, he will get promoted to 9 dan.
Wow. Yep.
Then on Tuesday, we've got the first game of the women's Honinbo final.
Yep.
Between probably Japan's top 2 women players at the moment, Fujisawa Arena, the current Honinbo, and Yuno Asami.
Yep.
The current International Senko Cup champion.
Yep.
On Wednesday and Thursday, we've got the first 2 games of the Myungin
final, yes.
Between Shin Jinseo and Shin Minjun.
Yep.
So that'll be exciting. And then on Thursday and Friday, we have game 4 of the Meijin.
Yeah.
Iyama Yuta versus Shibano Torimaru. So next week is a huge week in the Japanese domestic scene. We've got 4 finals happening.
Huge. Yeah.
And then, on Friday, we'll have another Dr.G. Best female player, Park Ji-yeon versus Kim Yoon-ji.
Yep.
The women's Kuksu quarterfinals start next week. We've got Choi Jeong versus Kim Hai-rim.
Yep.
If you don't know who Kim Hai-rim is, we actually mentioned her last week. She's the manager of the winning women's Baduk team.
Right.
So I mentioned how some of the managers no longer play competitively, like Moon Do-won.
Yeah.
Whereas some of them do play competitively still, and Kim Hai-rim is one of them. In fact, and as you can see, she's still making quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So there you go. I just noticed, by the way, that this week Shin Jinseo didn't play any. We didn't have any Shin Jinseo games.
No.
So the one against Jiayang it actually happened last week.
Yeah.
So another rare week where Shin Jinseo didn't play any games, although we still seem to cover him every podcast anyway.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But yeah, next week looks like next week is going to be very Japan heavy. Although we also plan to be reporting. Like I said, we will mention the results of the Rookie King next week.
Yeah.
And we also had some games from a Chinese tournament.
Yeah.
The Tongshan Cup.
The Ahan Tongshan Cup.
Well, the Ahan Tongshan Cup.
Yeah.
Which we'll hopefully have time to talk about next week. But next week there's a lot of Japanese games that looks like we're going to cover.
Yeah. And now, just in case the next podcast is also recorded a little bit later than usual, we also have the second 大骑士, or translated as big player. Of course, this is the second. I believe in the first one was covered as either as Wang Cup on the Pro Weiqi, so maybe it's not. Or maybe this 大骑士 is a bit of a odd sounding name for. And this is actually quite a new competition. It's a title holder challenger system. The first edition was won by Xinghao, so he will become the basically the title holder, the Da Qi, and then will seek a challenger to challenge him. This is the second edition, which is meant to start on the Saturday, the 8th of October. Yep.
So wait, sorry, who's the current title holder?
Ding Hao.
Ding Hao.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So let's see who will challenge Ding Hao for this one. So that's a wrap for another week, Gaza. And thank you very much for your inputs again, as usual. And we shall see you next week.
Yep, sounds good.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.